Hi everyone, today we're going to be talking about something that has really, I feel like, started to take off on conversation on the internet, and that is infertility. Specifically, we're going to dive into IVF, and even more detail, we're going to really cover the cost of IVF, which is a huge part of why people can't do IVF because it's financially unobtainable to them. So let's break it down. And before we get started, for those of you who don't know, my name is Libby. I am a certified health and wellness coach and holistic nutritionist who makes videos about everything from infertility to health to dog mom content to food, everything. So don't forget to follow and subscribe. First, we're going to start. I have my information here. We're going to start with just the general overall cost. So the general overall cost for IVF without medications is at least 10 grand, at least bare minimum 10 grand for just IVF in general. 10 grand right off the bat, out the door. For specifically around the United States, from what I found, it was about 12 to 14,000, that base rate, and that's without medication. Medication is a huge part of IVF. If you haven't seen the videos, you are taking all these shots, pills, everything, like strict medication schedules. The cost of medication is such a huge part, and the cost of medication for IVF we'll get into. But the base rate, $12,000 to $14,000. Think of all you can do with $12,000 to $14,000. Not $1,400, $14,000. That is huge chunk of money just at a start of a chance to have a kid, because IVF, remember, is not a guarantee to have a kid. In fact, there are quite a few who unfortunately go through IVF and do not come out with a positive pregnancy result. So that's just the base rate. But there's many things that are added on top of that aren't included. So we're gonna cover some of those. First is gonna be that medication we talked about, all those hormone shots, all those things. That, from what I found, is around $3,000 to $7,000 in the cycle total, kind of depending on the situation per person. Obviously, every person's IVF journey is a little bit different and unique, tailored to them and their medical situation, because everybody and every body is different. So if I went through IVF and my best friend went through IVF, our whole protocol will just be a little bit different and tailored to us personally. So medication is anywhere from around $4,000 to $7,000 just for the medication. Think, again, I want to put this in perspective, think about all you can do with $4,000 to $7,000. And the fact that that is just going toward medication at a chance to start a family. That's just crazy. So on top of that, like $14,000, that's $18,000 to like 20 something thousand already right there. Yeah, let's just let that soak in. Anyway, moving on, there's other things that can be involved with IVF. First, it's going to be the assessment. The initial fertility assessment and appointment and all the stuff they have to do to kind of work up a game plan for you individually. That can be from $250 to about $500. And that's just from what I found. Now, that also is not including, for men, some men may have to do a sperm analysis to make sure all their goods also be working good, because the women have to make sure their goods be working good too, but the men gotta get in on that action too, because gotta have both parts working Gucci to get the end result. Because even if you go through this process with the egg stuff, if the sperm ain't gonna be sperming, that's just, you don't want to spend all this money for that to cause issues. So, sperm analysis, that can be $200 to $250 right there. So I want to put this in perspective because there's just so much money going toward IVF, and it's just astronomical. And that's why there's so many women and families and men who can't have kids, who can't do IVF because it's so astronomically unavailable cost-wise. So, and then I want to cover a really, really, really big one. IVF can go a couple different ways with treatment-wise, as I mentioned several times before. Now, there's the way with the woman, goes through a bunch of hormonal drugs and stimulation to get their eggs egging, get their ovaries pumping, get all this working, get some eggs that they can then take and fertilize outside the body. However, there are women, you're looking at one, whose body does not produce a single egg. Their ovaries, my ovaries, are dysfunctional and malformed and cannot, no matter what we pump it with, produce eggs that they can take and try to use. So that raises the question, well then, how can you do IVF? Good question, because that comes to the other big cost. Egg donation. And when I sat down with, at the beginning of my infertility awareness, and trying to figure out if IVF was even going to be possible for me, I talked to a few people in the IVF medical world and a couple of clinics, and it can cost $5,000 to $12,000 just for egg donation. Just for egg donation, depending on the egg you choose. So on top of that $12,000 to $14,000, on top of that $4,000 to $7,000, and all these other costs, you have to add another $5,000 to $12,000. Not just 100, but grand to that cost. That is astronomical. There was actually a video on TikTok I just saw where someone was quoted for IVF at a fertility clinic in the United States, almost $30,000. Let that sink in. $30,000 at a chance to start a family. That is insane. I just want to raise awareness to how financially straining and unattainable IVF can be, because people don't realize that. And I really wanted to shed light on that because it's so, so important, you know, because it's something people don't think about when they see someone going through IVF. It's the financial aspect of it. You know, it's something, because IVF, let alone, isn't really talked about as much as it should be. I'm glad that it is getting more traction. I'm really happy about that. But I wanted to shed light on this aspect because it's so, so important to think about too. So I hope that was informational and helpful. I truly appreciate you guys watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. I love you all.